The Police Federation has delivered a stark warning to Chancellor Rachel Reeves. British policing is fundamentally broken and faces devastating cuts due to critical funding shortfalls. This bombshell revelation comes just days before Wednesday's crucial spending review, where Reeves is expected to announce real-term spending increases for police while simultaneously forcing cuts across other Home Office departments. The big question remains whether these increases will match the staggering £1 billion that police officers say they desperately need to cover existing shortfalls. The stakes couldn't be higher as Britain grapples with what many are calling a growing crisis of lawlessness. Former political advisor Oscar Redrop explains that Wednesday's spending review represents a defining moment for the Labour government. While it's not a full budget, significant cuts and possible tax rises have already been trailed, making this one of the most consequential parliamentary events in recent memory. The government faces a brutal reality check. Months after implementing massive tax increases, including what critics call a devastating tax on jobs and businesses, we're finally seeing where Labour's true priorities lie. The question is simple. Are police services, or are they forces? Most would argue they're essential services that deserve proper funding. Here's what most politicians fail to understand. People don't mind paying for security. Defense, security, and policing consistently rank at the top of public priorities, which is exactly why above-inflation spending increases are being discussed. But as always with government promises, the devil lies in the details. Behind the scenes, brutal battles are raging between government departments. Picture this. Angela Rayner and Yvette Cooper literally begging Rachel Reeves for funding in heated No. 11 meetings. These power dynamics reveal everything about government priorities. Will Ed Miliband's ambitious energy policies receive cuts or funding? The government's credibility hangs in the balance. The situation has deteriorated dramatically since October. While Labour didn't have the smoothest start post-election, Reeves initially maintained her reputation for fiscal prudence, constantly referencing the need to close the black hole in public finances. But that black hole has only widened thanks to increased spending, creating talks of potential rebellions within the party. If you're finding this political drama as fascinating as we are, make sure to subscribe for more in-depth analysis of British politics and policy decisions that directly impact your daily life. Ministers now find themselves in stronger negotiating positions, knowing the government stands on increasingly shaky ground. Reeves has already been forced to amend her fiscal rules to accommodate this spending spree, severely damaging her credibility in the process. What politicians consistently miss is the growing sense of lawlessness spreading across Britain. This isn't just an inner-city problem anymore. Crime perception matters enormously, and people in smaller towns and villages feel increasingly abandoned. They might not face the same levels of knife crime or violent crime as urban areas, but their experiences of lower-level criminality are equally valid and concerning. The smaller crimes often dismissed by politicians create a devastating cumulative effect. When people feel there are no consequences, no punishment, and insufficient police presence to deter these activities, social fabric begins to unravel. We've witnessed this on trains, in town centers, and residential areas where petty crime goes unchecked. Police representatives are sending a clear message. We're beyond administrative cuts now. They lack both the funding and personnel to maintain basic law and order, let alone tackle more serious crimes. Without additional spending, Britain simply doesn't have the capacity to address these mounting challenges. However, the Chancellor operates within extremely tight constraints. Her self-imposed fiscal rules prevent borrowing increases within 5 years, following OBR guidelines she chose to adopt. Labour backbenchers have made crystal clear they won't support welfare cuts, struggling even to maintain the relatively modest winter fuel allowance reversal. Britain's financial reality is sobering. With a 100% debt-to-GDP ratio and £100 billion annually spent on debt interest alone, Reeves has virtually no room for maneuver. The mathematics are stark and unforgiving. Subscribe now to stay informed about how these critical spending decisions will reshape British policing and public safety in the months ahead.